Welcome back. And if you did join us late, Nilly Barr is my special guest. She's a licensed professional counselor, and we have a phone number, and she is with the Associates at Park Avenue. And of course, the website is www.associatesatparkavenue.net, and the phone number is 864-271-2740. And we're talking mostly about children and teenagers and eating disorders, and how parents kind of sometimes we push them down the wrong path. And you counsel couples and families on a variety of issues, not just this. And so you want to talk about the couples and how they relate to problems with their children, because they do it differently, right?
Yes, they sure do. They sure do. All of us were raised in different homes, of course. And so we learned a different model. And then we bring that in together, and we have to negotiate those differences. And we're different as men and women. We're made differently. Men operate in terms of doing and action taking, and women operate on thinking and analyzing and kind of trying to figure it all out. Women like to talk about things, men don't. So we have to negotiate all of that. So many times with couples, I find myself trying to teach them those differences, for one, so that they're not constantly going around thinking, you're wrong, you're wrong. Nobody has to be wrong in this. It's a matter of negotiating those differences. So when we talked earlier, for example, about what do we do when our children won't eat their broccoli, or they won't eat this or that, each parent is going to have a different model in how to handle that. Maybe one parent wants to be rough and tough about it and go, eat it. They're hungry children in China, right? And then maybe the other parent says, oh, let the child be, let them just do whatever. So they have to negotiate those things. So many times I'm teaching couples tools. For example, one of the wonderful tools that many therapists use, I'm not the only one, is one of dialogue, where one person speaks and the other one basically repeats back what they said, just so they're heard, just so that the speaker knows the other person heard it. So we call that mirroring, we call that paraphrasing. So if I said to my husband, I'm really worried about our child, Frank, not eating his broccoli, him, in answering back, he doesn't say, oh, you worry too much, just get over it, go do something. Instead, he would say, oh, you're worried that Frank is not eating his broccoli. So he would mirror that back to me. And that in and of itself helps me to calm down a little bit, because I know he's listening to me. And I know we're in this together. Because what happens when he goes, oh, you just worry too much, Nilly, just go do something. Why don't you go make a garden or cook something or whatever? That's very dismissing, right?
Yes.
And it's demeaning to me, right? So I'm going to get mad, and I'm going to start telling him what he's doing wrong. You just don't care. You don't do enough around here anyway, and on and on and on. So at that point, we're spiraling downward because our communication has already stopped working. So what I want to teach couples to do is to listen to each other. First, wait long enough to understand what the other person's talking about. We can always negotiate later, but if we don't listen to each other, if we don't understand each other, if I don't let you know that I heard what you said truly, not like, I heard,
but
like,
quietly
oh,
listen.
this is what you're saying to me. I understand you're worried about this. That must be hard for you that you're worried about this, you see? So in that way, it's like both of us settle into this place where we are working together, because we both care about our family and we both care about each other. So we slow down and we take time.
And we're using, food at this point to
Right.
discuss.
Right.
But this kind of thing could be used in a marriage in any situation.
Absolutely. Actually, yes, it is for any situation, because everything that comes up, whether it's our children's eating, whether it's our own eating, couples who one person is worried about their spouse's health because they're not eating well or exercising. It can be about money matters.
Yeah.
It can be about vacations. It can be about anything, what color we paint the living room. All of those things we have to negotiate with each other. And we're not going to get to do that unless we can do this and be able to slow down and sit with each other and really listen and honor where both of us are about this, whatever the topic is, doesn't matter.
So you do that before you actually negotiate anything.
Yes, yes. Because if we don't understand where each of us start, we're not going to go anywhere. We don't have a chance at negotiating anything.
I wonder if this kind of thing should be taught to young people before they get married.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
To take
Yes.
that knowledge.
Yes,
But this would be true even in a business situation.
yes.
To
Yes.
listen to the other person's
Yes.
ideas.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It doesn't mean you have to buy into it, right?
Right, absolutely. It doesn't mean you're agreeing at that point, it just means you're understanding. Right. You're honoring where the other person is, their starting place is. Right. It's, if I'm going to buy a car even, the starting place is the retailer says, this is my listing price. I start out with, this is my budget. Right? We have to understand and accept that. We both know we're going to negotiate to a different place, right?
Yeah.
But we start out being respectful and understanding of that first starting place. You know, I'm not going to laugh at him for his price. He better not laugh at me for my budget, right? And so from there, then we're going to start inching towards somewhere in the middle, and we're going to negotiate that, right?
So that is a basis.
It is the basis, right? From there, I mean, some of the rules are, you always keep the language clean. I think it's so important. I think people's
the language-
what words come out of our mouths. Couples can get heated. Words come out of people's mouths that are, you know, I don't have to explain that. People say things in the heat of the moment. Words can be damaging. They can be hurtful.
You can't
and
take them
harming.
back.
You can't take them back, right? And so I always say to couples, no matter how mad you are, you best be even more respectful in your language to your partner. One of the other tips is we want to always use I language, meaning I feel angry, I feel frustrated, I am worried, versus you're making me mad, you're making me furious. Okay? When I say I feel something or I believe something, I'm owning it as mine. And that's where it stands. I have a right to my thoughts and my feelings. And the other person may not agree, that's fine.
But you approach it in a kindly
Yes.
way.
Yes. Yes.
And I think a lot of times in situations, something can be on the table that has to be resolved between
Yes.
a husband and a wife, but there could be resentment built up from
Yes.
something a long time ago
yes.
that comes out and is used again. I don't know. Is that
Absolutely, absolutely. So I always say to couples, don't bring the kitchen sink, don't bring your in-laws, don't bring anything else into this conversation. If you're talking about this table, talk about the table. So you negotiate about it, and you don't bring in old resentments, you don't bring in old stuff. Right, that happens all the time, and it only complicates things. You know, a couple will be sitting in the session with me, and we'll be talking about what just happened about they were trying to decide where to eat dinner, let's say, and they got into a conflict. So we're talking about it. Before long, each one is bringing stories in from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, wait a minute. Do you notice what just happened? And they both stop, and sometimes they're at a loss. What happens? Are you going anywhere? I don't know. This is a place we've been in before where we just start here and all of a sudden we're 20 years back. We're both lost somewhere in time back there, and we don't have a chance at coming out of this with any resolution around this issue that started. So I would say stay with one topic at a time. Stay with one topic and do not, even if your brain does connect and remember other stuff, you leave it alone. Stay with
you
one
don't
topic.
bring it into the
No.
new discussion?
That's right, you don't. That's right. Because that will only complicate things, and then you can't resolve this.
And I guess what you're really saying, this covers it all. Listening. Listening to your kids, listening to your teenagers. And you may not like what you hear, but at least then they feel that they are respected as a
Yes.
person, as a young person.
Yes,
I guess
Yes,
that's,
Peggy.
and it's
That's it.
so hard when
It
you're a
is.
parent
Yes.
and you think, I've been there before, I know this. Why
Yes.
can't you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. That's perfect. It's beautiful. That is it. To listen to them, because that's how they know that you are seeing them, you're hearing them, they're a whole person
With
worthy
respect.
of your kindness and respect. Absolutely.
Even if you don't end up agreeing.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we're agreeing, but it means that we're hearing them and we're honoring their presence in our lives. Absolutely.
Nilla, you're a love.
Oh,
Thank you
you're
so much.
kind. Thank
Nilla Barr, she
you.
has a lot of what I call good old common sense. And that's what we all need. We need to listen to each other. Thank you so much for being with us today. And wherever you are, I guess we should say, if you have children at home, listen to them. We'll see you next time.